30-second heads up for TV. I call the July 2022-2025 Historic Preservation Board meeting to order. May we start with a roll call?
Caleb R.W. Lux.
Here.
Peggy Marker.
Present.
Gabriel Jaroslavsky.
Here.
Kristen Kellogg. Here. James Murphy.
Here.
Jeffrey Sheldon.
Here.
Gerald Bucksbaum.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Kyle Waters is not present.
Thank you. Does staff have any changes to tonight's agenda?
Yes, good afternoon, board members. Ana Maria Ponte, Development Services Director. We have several changes. We have several cases that are going to be continued today. We have case number 7.1 for 195 Dyer Road. We're requesting continuing for the next month. Also, case number 8.1, 509 North N Street is also for next month, as well as 8.4, 617 Ardmore Road, 8.5, 3015 Washington Road, 8.6, 800 North Tamarind Avenue, and 8.7, 433 52nd Street. All those we're requesting continuance for the August meeting, August 26th meeting.
Thank you. Do any board members have changes to the agenda this evening? If not, may we have a motion to approve the agenda with the notes that staff mentioned?
I move the board to approve tonight's agenda with the changes described by staff.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Are there any changes to the minutes from June 24th, 2025?
Yeah, I have a change. So in the meeting minutes, it states that the votes on the cases were including the alternate board member, right? So for example, we have cases where are 8 yay and 0 nay. So that should be corrected, all right, because
Correct.
the alternate doesn't
we need to
count
remove the
when we
alternate
have
from that.
quorum.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. We have that one amendment that needs to be made. With that change, may we have a motion to approve the minutes as noted?
I move the board to approve last month meeting minutes with the change as described.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. May we have the report of the preservation planner?
Yes, thank you very much, board members. We have today one report that is not very good. I'm sad to report that the person that we have offered a position for the city's historic preservation planner has communicated with the city and has rescinded their offer, so the position is vacant again. We have posted it already. It has been advertised in all the APA websites and the historic preservation websites also, so if you know of anyone that will be interested, the position is out again. And we hope we will find a new candidate soon. That's all I have for today.
Thank you. Now it's remarks by the chairperson. The matters before us are quasi-judicial in nature. That means that we make our decision based on competent, substantial evidence that comes before us. We ask that you keep this in mind when making your comments. How this works is that the applicant will make a presentation up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes if there is a demolition. Afterwards, staff will make a presentation. After staff, we will open it up for public comment. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The applicant may have a short rebuttal after the public speaks. To lead into this, we as board members need to disclose whether we have discussed the cases before us with anyone prior to tonight's meeting. Gerald, will you get us started, please?
Sure. As to the matter before us this evening, at our July 22nd, 2025 meeting, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications, nor conducted an investigation, made a site visit, nor received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be part of the record.
As to all matters on this evening's agenda, I, Jeff Sheldon, have not had ex parte communications, have not received written communications, have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, nor have I received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
As to all matters on tonight's July 22nd, 2025 meeting, I, James Murphy, have not had ex parte communications, have not received written communications, have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
As to all matters on tonight's agenda, I have discussed them with staff, but can make my decision based on the information presented this evening. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit. I have not received expert opinions on all other matters, and I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
As to all matters in tonight's agenda, I, Gabe Jaroslavsky, have not had ex parte communications, have not received written communications, have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, and have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
As to all matters on tonight's agenda, I, Peg Marker, have not had ex parte communications, have not received written communications, have not conducted an investigation, have not made a site visit, have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
As to all matters on tonight's agenda, I, Caleb Laux, have not had ex parte communications, have not received written communications, have not conducted a site visit, and have not received expert opinions. I request that all these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Thank you. Now is the time for the swearing in of speakers. If you wish to speak on a case this evening, please stand to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, our first case is the consent case. If we may have a motion in regards to it.
I move the board to approve consent case 25-41 in 800 Claremore Drive.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Case 25-41 for 800 Claremore Drive is approved. And moving to our first continued case, 2916 Washington Road.
Hello, my name is Davis Tamperin from YRA Design. I am the architect for this project. We have designed the new residence located at 2916 Washington Road in the Prospect Southland Park Historical District. We are proposing the demolition of a single-story, non-contributing residence with an attached garage and proposing the construction of a two-story Mediterranean Revival-style residence with a detached two-car garage with a connecting breezeway. From the last presentation, we redesigned the residence, listening to the comments and suggestions from the board and staff. There will be an outdoor living area at the rear of the residence. The size and mass of the house is consistent with the new homes on the east side of Washington Road and the larger existing homes on the west side of Washington Road. The folding glass doors from the previous submittal have been replaced with French doors with muttons. We also lowered the height of the residence and adjusted the relationship between the soffit depth and the stone molding at the roof line. The second floor floor plan has been simplified and additional windows have been added as requested. The floor plans have been redesigned, providing symmetry to the front elevation. The detached garage is connected with a breezeway. The home is located on the east side of Washington Road. The new residence has been positioned in the center of the 22,139 square foot waterfront lot. Architectural features found in the district have been incorporated into the design of the new residence. Those are the precast stone surround at the covered entry and the precast stone molding like that of 200 Argyle Road, the window mutton pattern like 101 Westminster Road, the clay tile railing and decorative clay attic vent like 3001 Washington Road, the roof tile and metal Juliet plant balcony like that of 200 Argyle Road. The shutters and waterboard from the previous submittal have been removed. The precast stone will have a sand finish. All these elements create a unique and intimate cohesive design. The home will be finished with a smooth float stucco finish. The color palette for the home is a light cream color with white accents to complement the adjacent homes. The windows at the front of the house will have clear glass. The roof will be a two-piece Mission Bermuda tile roof. The streetscape shows that our proposed house is proportionate to the traditional style homes on the right and left side of the residence. The roof plan shows the single and two-story portion of the home having a 5 and 12 pitch. The streetscape shows both sides of the street with the existing house shown. It shows a diversity of styles from several non-contributing style homes to several Mediterranean and traditional style homes. I'm glad to have had the opportunity to submit this resident for your review and comments. Thank you.
Maria Aponte, Development Services Director for the record. I'm not going to go over each of the details of the proposal. The applicant did a good job presenting the changes that have been included since the last time it was presented, but I wanted to show you kind of the comparison that I think is interesting to see the kind of progression that has been done with this proposal. These are the plans that are submitted for today's meeting. And this is the proposal from presented to the board on June 24th. It's substantially different. As he mentioned, the height of the building has been substantially modified and fits the context. This is the original proposal that was presented in May of this year. This is the rear elevation, also has been modified substantially to address the board comments, and the details have been refined as the design progresses. So I think it's interesting to see the three of them together. And this is the other elevation, the north elevation. This is also interesting. This is the current proposal, so it's the street section. As you can see how the proposal now is in relationship with existing structures on the either side of the property. This is the previous version that was presented to the board in June 24th, and this is the original version. So there were some changes on the plans, but we don't want to go into those details. Based on the changes, staff believes the applicant has done a good job trying to address the comments that have been expressed by the board in the last two meetings, and we believe it complies with the standards for approval with some recommendations or some changes. Regarding the demolition, staff recommends approval as the application meets the requirements for demolition. For the conditions of approval, staff has a series of conditions. The first one is regarding The windows surrounding shall be separated by a minimum of 1 inch from the cornice detail. I believe the applicant already showed the board the drawings that you saw on his presentation have already addressed that detail. The drawings that are on the records at this point do not have that, so we would like to keep the condition as part of the approval. And then the other 3 conditions that we have are related to the details of the windows, and it's more a matter of the information provided by the applicant they didn't have time to just provide all the information, so we would like to include these 3 conditions to maintain in the record, so we can request that as part of the building permit. The first one on that is just simply that the windows, the scheduled windows, shall exactly match what is presented on the elevations. And the number 3 and 4 are the standard comments regarding the glazing, the color of the glazing, and the samples for the windows. That concludes the staff presentation, and we are recommending approval.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Yeah, I had a question about the sizes of the cornices. Is the 1-story and 2-story cornice the same size?
We eliminated the 1-story cornice as part 2 on our drawing details, but yes, the single story currently and the 2nd story is the same size. But if you look at our detail sheet, A4.1, we have 2 profiles there. We're eliminating one of them.
And what would that look like?
It was going to look like the first one, which is 11.5 inches in height.
Well, I mean, what does it look like now? Like what the new profile looks
The current profile that's shown on our presentation is the same one that's shown on A4.1.
Here, can you show us?
Yes, of course. Oh, I'm sorry.
Your presentation.
I think it's going to go the other way. No, down, sorry. Yeah, let me get it. Oh, right here. Oh. Right. I don't know what happened here. Okay, so it's shown as the first detail on the upper left-hand corner.
All right, so that's the one on the left is the main cornice, the 2-story cornice.
Both the first and the second floor.
And that's what you're proposing, the same exact cornice?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have a question for you. Two, actually. Is the garage door a single panel tilt-up?
No, it's not. It's going to be a four-piece divided garage door with vertical slats. I believe
Pivot,
it's by close.
swing?
It doesn't swing this way, it rolls up.
But 4 separate pieces?
Yes, like a standard garage door.
And then, can you explain your thought process on the 3 different types of railings used on the building? You have the clay scallop detail, then you have the more ornamental metal railing at the Juliet balcony, and then you have the standard plain vertical picket in the rear.
So on the front elevation, when I listened to the staff and to the board about going and looking at the examples that were in the historical area, I noticed that several of the homes had both the wrought iron as well as the clay as elements of the historic homes. So I felt that it was compatible to have both of those on the front elevation. Towards the rear, I wanted to keep it somewhat simple and provide more usable, I guess, or clear vision for the people that are using the sun deck and the trellis to look out into the water, and simplify it so you could see more of the architecture in the rear.
And then appreciate the changes that you've made,
Thank you.
particularly with the size of the roof and the refinement of the rear elevation, particularly those nanowall systems that are now gone, and also the modification of your rear terrace. I think your second floor pergola needs to come down a little, but that's something I could talk with my fellow commissioners with.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question before you go sitting. So, looking at the front elevation, on the right-hand side, the window on the ground floor is not lining up with the two windows on the second floor. Is there, I'm looking at the floor plans, it's two bathrooms. I am not seeing a reason why they shouldn't align, so it's possible to align them.
Are you referring to the two windows all the way to the right?
The one on the ground floor on the right and the two on the upper floor on the right.
We can make that adjustment if you feel that it's necessary. I believe we can do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Additional questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, is there any public comment on this case? I have no comment cards. All right, seeing none, we will move into executive session. Thank you. This is not about this case, but I'm having some technical difficulties. If someone could help me, my computer restarted, so I no longer have access. Thank you.
I mentioned my main comment was about the rear trellis. I just thought it was a little too high on that second floor. I think the balcony brackets on the front facade seem a little long. And I don't know, I'm kind of a stickler. I think they should just have one type of metal work railing.
I agree about the pergola and the metal railings, but those seem like pretty minor tweak, yeah.
It should be right above the doors, probably. Right? It should be right above the doors, the head of the door.
The pergola you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just want to say I think this is a huge improvement.
Agreed.
I think with, like, it's just a couple tweaks. That works, this whole thing works really well. Expanding on my question, I think the scale of the cornice is correct for the two-story. I think the one-story needs to come down in scale, to 60 or 70%, even 50% of what it is now. I would say do that. And then the only other thing is, I would say the front door portico surround, I think that just needs a hair more refinement. I hesitate to be as prescriptive as this, but I think it needs to be something like formalized as like a Roman order, like a Tuscan order, like the house that you showed on Argyle, which it's not exactly, canonically correct, but it has all the pieces of a Roman order. So something this formal, I think I think it needs some kind of definition like that, because otherwise it'll look like just a couple of pilasters and lintels with unrelated moldings stapled on top. But I think those are my own two comments. But other than that, I think everything else is pretty good. And again, I agree about the pergola that needs to come down about the head height of the windows.
Caleb, I agree about that front entry. I think that would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I feel like something's felt a little off about it, and I don't think it's the placement of it. I think that's exactly what it is that it's just not classically proportioned according to the orders. So I think if we make that adjustment, that would go a long way for me. I'm also in agreement with the other conditions that we just ran through. So it sounds like we're headed towards an approval with conditions. Are there any other items that we need to add as conditions, or are those I think we had 3 or 4? And then staff also had the one about shifting the windows down, I think, 1 inch, as well as some of the usual, yeah.
I want to thank you for sharing the historical precedent you were referencing. That's very helpful.
We need two motions.
Sure.
One of the conditions was that there would be a 1-inch gap between the top of the cornice
Correct.
or the bottom of the cornice and the top of the window. My question to you is, did you want me to decrease the size of the cornice by 1 inch to provide that gap, or did you want me to lower the windows by the 1 inch so the head height is not at 8 feet, it'll be at 7'11"?
I was assuming that you would just shift the windows down by 1 inch and keep everything else the same. Caleb, do you agree with that, or would you?
I would agree with that. And especially, on second-story buildings of this type, there's a reduction of scale as soon as you go to the second story anyways. So 8-foot, what the 8-foot windows on the first floor and then 8-foot windows on the second floor, you usually want to differentiate the two as soon as you go on the second floor.
I just want to make sure that I'm
No,
following
so
the right
yeah,
there.
and I'm just like rounding out the logic. I think shifting it down a hair is probably the right move.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think we're ready for 2 motions. Is that right?
Okay, I move that Historic Preservation Board approve application number 2530 for demolition in accordance with the demolition guidelines as set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 9449 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries.
I move that Historic Preservation Board approve application number 2530 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, as well as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the city's Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 9449 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance and the Historic Preservation element of the Comprehensive Plan of the City of West Palm Beach. Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 9449 of the city's zoning and land development regulations, specifically criterias 1 through 9. The conditions include the following 4 conditions as immortalized in the staff report and presentation, and the additional conditions starting at condition 5, that the first and second floor windows at the front facade should align with the ground floor windows. Gabriel, does that capture that motion, the
Yes.
alignment of the windows?
Well, it should be center, both should be center.
Centered and aligned.
The lower window should be centered in between the two upper windows.
The ground floor window shall be centered above the second floor windows. You understand that? Sorry, I butchered that. Condition number 6, that the cornice on the first floor shall be reduced by approximately 50% from that as presented. Condition number 7, the applicant shall refine the front portico in a style and proportion of the Roman Empire, of the Roman order, to be reviewed with staff. And that the conditions 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that the rear wooden pergola on the second floor be reduced to a head height of just above the operable doors.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Congratulations, and thank you for working with us. It will be beautiful. Okay, and now we have our next case. Case number 25-38 for 518 33rd Street.
I guess afternoon or evening, depending on what's your pleasure. My name's David Lawrence with David Lawrence Architecture. I'm here to present the revised submittal for 518 33rd Street. I'd like to hand out, if I could, one of the pictures that we had didn't make it in submittal. So some of the comments from the meeting were that, one, that the building was high-waisted, which I think pertained mostly to the area around the stairwell. The roof was complicated. The parking design didn't follow the patterns in the road. There was a dislike of the balcony design. The mutton pattern, which we had 3/1, we changed to 6/1. And there was a concern about the stair being too prominent in the front and that it should be pushed back. So what I'd like to do first, you've seen these context pictures. I'd like to come back to these precedent pictures, and you have the other additional precedent in your package. So first, what I'd like to do is really address the issue of the parking. What did we do with that? We surveyed the road. Okay, here we go. And on this street, we have 4 loops, which we can't really do because of the landscape restrictions, 5 tandem with 2 carports, 4 side-by-side, and 2 singles. So what we are proposing here would be consistent with, of the 2 majorities, the loops and the side-by-sides were the 2 most prevalent parking patterns on the road. So we're proposing that. We've also given you, I guess, my opinion, I get that it should be consistent, but I still contend that separating them provides more of a landscape look, and so we provided it as an alternate, and we'll discuss some of the alternates later, just to see if maybe after seeing this you might agree or disagree. We're fine doing this, or anyway, so on to the next thing. So this is what we had before, and it just seems like it spreads the landscaping out on the yard a little better. So of the changes that we made, what we did was reconfigure the stair a little bit and push the powder room out to provide a 1-story element to kind of break down and kind of try to address that high-waisted issue with the lack of fenestration that was on the lower portion of the left side of the facade. Other than that, there's not really any substantial changes to the plan. Another comment was that the roof was overly complicated. We eliminated the false gable on the west side of the facade, and so the roof is simpler now. I'll come back to this if I could. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the accessory structure, as we mentioned, the accessory structure, we're putting back the siding. I think there's a staff condition that it's either cedar or cypress. We take no exception to that. And I think what their comment was, I think, about maybe going to 3/1, back to 3/1. I'm fine either way. I preferred as we originally proposed with the 3/1, but if you feel the 6/1, or I guess in some circumstances 8/1 would be more appropriate. But what we've done is applied muntins to the existing windows in order to try to get back some of the flavor of what was there and put the siding back on. So this is the revised proposal. And so what I'd like to do now is kind of go back and kind of show some of the precedents. So what we've done here, as I said, is we've reworked this front entrance. This design, if you look at some of the precedents that we're showing in the neighborhood, you can see that it's a more, in this style of architecture, it's a little more de minimis. The columns are a little less strong. So in this example here and this example here kind of follow the precedent of what we're doing. And the other, this was the only house that we could find in the entire neighborhood that had the shakes all the way down. But what we did find was that, and I had seen it, I just failed to produce it as our precedence, is that right down the street on the south side of the road, the next block over, this house, as you can see, has the siding on top and the stucco on the bottom. And that gets back to what I'd like to talk to you about the alternate plan. As I said, we're fine either way, but we prefer the alternate plan because we think it fits the road better with the amount of stucco from the Mediterranean revival houses that are on there. But if you prefer siding all the way down, so be it. So let me just go back to the elevations again. So you can see this is the context. We've included more context pictures as requested. And as this gets back to kind of what I'm saying is the preponderance of, aside from I think one house on the street, most of them are stucco. And so we like the idea of having the stucco siding step. And there's two precedents in the neighborhood that would be consistent with that, granting that. So we talked about this. So as I said, this is more de minimis kind of entry to keep with it. There was a staff comment about the strip windows. You can see in the precedent pictures that grouping the windows together like that is definitely something that's there as precedent in the neighborhood. So we're fine with providing the details showing the separation to make everybody happy. So let's see. So this is just kind of this is the alternate plan where, we get a little bit of, get the stucco on the bottom, and that would kind of relate more to the more Mediterranean revival a little bit, and just in terms of a material similarity. And we think that might be a little bit more of a harmonious fit on the street, but we'll go either way. So this is the revised plans. And you can see this just this with the alternate, and this is the alternate with the material choices. One of the comments about the 1 inch from the top, when you're looking at elevation, as some of the architects on the board know, it flattens things out, but those come back, and we already comply with that because what you're seeing is a straight-on shot, and you're not seeing. You can kind of see in the perspective that we have that 1 inch above the windows in excess of it. So these are just some of the alternate. This is. And I guess let me just make sure I covered everything. So I think that's it. So thank you very much. I can answer any questions if you have.
We'll do the staff report first, and then we'll do all the
Okay,
questions
sure,
at
of
once.
course.
Thank you.
And we agree to the conditions of the staff report. We've reviewed them and we accept them.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Ann Volsey for the record. So this is the HPB case number 25-38 for 518 33rd Street. It's a continued case for a COA for new construction and ad valorem pre-construction. So just a brief overview, just as a refresher, this is a contributing frame vernacular structure in the Old Northwood Historic District. This structure is located all the way in the back of the property. There's a pool in the middle, and the applicant is proposing a new construction towards the front along 33rd Street. And these are the site photos showing the existing contributing structure. As you can see from the street, it is pushed all the way in the back. It did have the siding, which was removed and eventually is going to be replaced. So the retroactive approval of the removal of the siding is no longer being requested. They are going to be putting it back. And this is the elevation showing with details how that's going to look for the permitting aspect. It does comply with the zoning code as shown on the screen. The applicant is requesting an increase in the lot coverage through the exception. And just to go over some of the concerns that the board had initially was about compatibility, massing, the placement of the staircase close to the front facade, the number of curb cuts, siding only on the second floor, placement and alignment of the windows. And I'll just go over the elevations north, south, east, and west, just to refresh the board's memory on what that previous version looked like and what they're proposing now. And the version that I do have up is the one that shows both floors with the siding, since that was the direction that we were given. South elevation, east elevation, and the west elevation. And here's just a rendering indicating, you know, the redesigned front entrance. And staff is recommending approval with conditions. Basically, all of the conditions pertain to windows and doors. And conditions 8 and 9 are related to the stovetop and oven to be removed from the accessory structure, as well as the type of stucco proposed. Thank you. That concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Questions from the board for staff or the applicant?
This can be either from the applicant or staff. Is the previous floor plan in part of this application or part of the presentation? Like the
It's as an addendum on the staff report.
Okay, I'll go backwards.
So that'll be towards the end.
Thank you.
Regarding condition number 8, what are you going to require? Because I think that it's more than removing the cooktop, right, and the oven.
Yes, so
But
that
I
would,
need to remove also the infrastructure for that, right?
more so the electrical infrastructure that's there, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that'll be done through the building permit.
Additional questions? Okay, seeing.
36. Page 36 of 41, we'll have the floor plan. Okay.
Caleb, you can also find it in the file folder. There's the applicant submittals, that's just part of the file setup. And you can find the initial submittal and then the revised submittal with all the applicant's drawings in there. Okay, Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is there any public comment for this case? Does not look like it. Okay, seeing none, we'll move into executive session.
I can start. Of the two driveway configurations, I would prefer the one that has them grouped. I think efforts are being made to not disrupt sidewalks for pedestrian movement. I think it's a shame that it can't be tandem spaces. But that's my thoughts on the driveway options. The shingle siding, I think it's fine all on the entirety of the first and second floor. And while I think the entry feature has improved, I'm curious to hear what others think about the location of that termination of the roof of it. It seems a little high to me. And that's about it for me.
Thank you.
I think the massing is improved on the front, but I'm not a big. I understand the idea of where the powder room is going. I just feel like it looks unresolved on the front, and that's why I was asking for the previous plan, because I was trying to see where that powder room could go or how it could be resolved. But I think at the very least it should be detached from the front door and not part of it. I think, yeah, I was counting I was counting the risers, and I think you can even like once you get above 13 risers of a typical stair, 13 to 14, you can start having clear space. So I think that powder room might be able to move somewhere else. But at the very least, I don't want to prescribe where it needs to go, but I just don't. Where it is now, it looks a bit like kind of like an outhouse on the front of the house.
Yeah, it's driving that front massing because of the placement of that powder room,
Yeah.
the entry massing.
I don't think, and I for the previous application, I think the issue is not that that window looked high-waisted, but you can do windows that cross in front of a stair. That's not wrong, and it's not illegal. That would have been, just leaving it the way it was, just changing where the window was, probably would have been an easier way to handle it.
I absolutely agree that the resolution of that elevation was made in an effort to kind of correct the windows on the front elevation, and I think by reprogramming the space, but the windows in nearly the exact same location, I think that the appendage just looks off. I think they should, at this point, just go back to eliminate that and explore an additional window on the front, and maybe a non-orthodox location on the stair risers.
And yeah, I actually, and regarding the siding, like academically, I feel like stucco and siding can go together. There's actually a house not nearby, but on Croton Way that actually has stucco above this siding. But I will say on this house, I think the shingles all the way down actually just looks better.
I agree.
I mean, I think the only other way to make the stucco look appropriate would be to change where that string course is, but that may not work with how the whole thing is arranged, so it just looks more resolved with all shingles.
I mean, I think that there's something about the massing of this iteration for that front facade where it's almost like a two-step on the two-story massing. And if that just continues itself through, because I think that part of my reaction to the first iteration was that you kind of had like this plane and then it was broken up by this kind of step back for that entry that didn't seem proportionally correct. when you're looking at it in comparison to surrounding structures, like simplicity is best. So I feel like it's maybe not quite as easy as just going back to what it was before, because I think it is a step in the right direction. It's just the comment about, we basically have this like push out that's just for a powder room on the first floor that is driving actually one of the most important features of your elevation that's not quite working out. And I feel like that you could have kind of this massing like that, but if that was actually, all of that was just like a front porch feature, as opposed to part of it being like, I don't know, that's about a third of it or something like that being this like front door feature, and then the other 2/3 of it being this powder room feature. I think that if we just simplify that front entry feature and then keep the two-step massing that is generally shown right now, that it would be quite successful. I think that we could also just, instead of that, I think it's a shed roof that then turns and becomes a gable at the front. If it was just simple and the shed roof came across, I think that it becomes like much more successful and almost starts to feel like the spirit of a Foursquare that would have been like similar in scale to this.
I really like that idea of like making the whole thing a front porch.
Like, yeah, like an enclosed
Much
porch, that's a
nicer.
better, yeah.
I mean, I think that we're in a similar instance again where there's been a lot of positive changes with this iteration, and that we could approve it with conditions and just list out those conditions that we have, especially as we've just kind of talked through what's successful about the front massing and what we would like to see revised, as well as the siding going as shown in this iteration, like all the way through. And Mr. Murphy, I know that you said that you preferred the combined driveway, even though you prefer it to be tandem. So the combined alternate for the
I
hardest.
think the applicant said that that wasn't possible, so he came up with the two schemes.
And you're in favor of the combined?
Of the two, I would prefer the combined one. I don't know what everyone's take on that is. Yeah.
I think you bring up a good point about disrupting the pedestrian traffic as minimally as possible by just having the one instance. Any additional comments?
Yeah, I think the front door, I don't know, I'm not into it. I think it needs to have a transom and just be a regular, like, tall doors I feel like are always a little weird on the front of a house. No room? You have you can do a transom at the height it's at with an 80-inch door, which is, you see a lot. You see where we have an 8-foot datum on main houses, and then the front door is actually smaller and shorter. That's how you get the transom. Because I can tell, this is an 8-foot door, correct? Yeah. So usually, it's a cottage-style door. So usually with a cottage-style door, which you don't see in a lot of houses, that window is at the level where you can see through, not like well above your head. So it's either should be a shorter door with a transom, or just a solid door. Like, there's something about it that just looks like it's trying to do too many things. And then, of course, I feel like it also looks weird because the lock rail is, like, even if I probably wouldn't be reacting if it was just like a single panel below, if that lock rail wasn't aligning with the handle. So it's trying to do 2 or 3 things at once. So if you made it like an 80-inch door with a 16-inch transom, you could probably get away with it. And you could probably even get away with like just making it a triple ribbon like you have and matching in the other windows. Admittedly, it's tight with the transom bar, but it's one way to make an entry door work with a transom without making it hugely tall.
I think we're good. Someone ready to make a motion? Do we need to review them again?
Yeah, no, do you have the conditions? conditions?
So added conditions would be, one, that the applicant explore refining the front door, working with staff, incorporating perhaps a more, incorporating a small transom at the top of the window, or
Either that, or maybe making the whole door solid, or like the whole, maybe making the light pattern taller, making like, maybe even like a French door with a low panel might work. Like, I'm trying to, I feel like it needs to go in a direction, not in between. So, whole solid door, transom, or just like a French door with a panel.
okay, I can keep it simple that the applicant shall come up, work with staff, refine the front door, and a solid panel door is not off the table. The shed roof should be at the front. How do we want that worded? That should be expanded and serve as the roofing element to the front entry?
I'll read how I wrote it if that's helpful.
I'm sorry?
I can read what I wrote down for the wording if that's helpful. So I have it kind of as two conditions, but keep the two-step massing, but remove the bathroom pop-out feature and remove the gable roof at the entry, and instead have the shed roof continue with a porch feature.
Remove the shed roof portion and incorporate a porch?
Remove the gable portion
Remove the gable portion.
and continue the shed roof treatment over a porch feature.
Just one motion for the, this application?
Yep.
And there's not, okay. I move that application, I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 2538 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, as well as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 9449 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted in the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and the intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance and the historic preservation element of the comprehensive plan of the City of West Palm Beach. The Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 and 10, and the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 9449 of the City's Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The conditions include the following: 9 conditions memorialized in the staff memo and staff presentation, and the additional conditions: that the applicant shall work with staff to refine the front door in an effort to either include a transom window at the top of the window or some other light configuration, or incorporate a solid panel door. The next condition is that the applicant shall keep the two-step massing at the ground floor, but remove the pop-up bathroom, the pop-out bathroom program element. Fourth condition is that the applicant shall remove the gabled portion of the front entry and continue the shed roof element to incorporate a porch feature. And the applicant shall, the approval of this is for the option of the driveway, that is the combined driveway element with the singular curb cut, and the shingle siding shall be permitted to encompass the entire first and second floor.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, I believe our next case is case number 25-43. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good evening.
Get closer to the mic and
Oh.
introduce yourself.
My name is Denise Williams. Good evening, and I'm here on behalf of my house, 815 39th Court. And my son can explain more in detail what he's doing. I have a couple of pictures here that I didn't get in, so I can give them to you. One of them is before, the last is before.
Excuse me, ma'am, when you speak, can you
I'm
please speak
sorry.
into the mic for the record?
Sorry. The last two are before, it was rusting out, and we wanted to change the balusters, and we wrapped the posts. But we did not remove the wrought iron posts that were there. My son wrapped them in I'll let him explain how he wrapped them in everything. Here you go.
You got a picture of it? That's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah, and for the record, the applicant did not submit a digital presentation.
I wasn't know where we had to, but
So you can see it side by side.
what you're looking at is not how it looks now. The first one on I would say the left-hand side, that's the past, how it used to look. All the wrought iron was rotting away, and it became a hazard of like people getting cut and stuff like that. So I tried to restore it, but every time you restore it, it breaks. So what I did is took out 2 sections and just wrapped it. Just wrapped it with the post. And then, this is not even finished, but the posts are there, and I put railing in between it, because I couldn't find the same design wrought iron. I couldn't find that anymore, so they don't make it. So, but the existing wrought iron, the only ones I keep is the 2 that's coming down to the steps. That's it. But everything else is the same. And the shutters, I'm restoring them now, and those going back up, and that's it. It's no big changes. Pretty much the same thing.
We'll go for staff presentation. Good evening. Anthony Mendez, Historic Preservation Planner for the record, speaking as the case manager for HPB 2543. So this is a retroactive approval request for alterations at the primary elevation at 815 39th Court to provide some contextual and background information. This is the subject property located in the Northwood Hills Historic District. zoned single-family 7 context 4. This is a contributing one-story minimal traditional residence constructed in 1939. And the property received historic designation as a contributing property in 2003 when Northwood Hills was established as a historic district. It is a minimal traditional house. It is emblematic of World War II development throughout the city of West Palm Beach. Residences of this style are generally modest in size and typically lack architectural embellishments. They're square and rectangular in footprint, and they have a very noticeable and distinguishable horizontal one-story projection. And some can coin the term as this being minimal ranch as well. There are some exterior references to earlier styles, and such as wrought iron in this particular case, which can be seen. And from a preservation standpoint, per our historic preservation ordinance, this is what we would consider a character-defining feature of this particular property and what would distinguish the property from being contributing versus non-contributing. So per the staff report, we have included the property record card from 1962. And the reason why we are here was for retroactive approval for work that has been done without a permit. Per the applicant, they have stated they have encased the wrought iron columns at the front porch entry with hardy board and stone exterior finish. They have removed the wrought iron railing and baluster. They have removed the shutters surrounding the French doors, and they've also covered the masonry scoring behind the front porch with stone. So this was initially cited by our building code enforcement back in August of 2024 for this work that had been done without a permit. The applicant first applied for a building permit in September of 2024, and the most recent submission from May 2025. Between those times, staff has numerously failed this permit for the fact that the scope of work that was entailed per this request could not be approved by staff and required Historic Preservation Board approval. And here is the drawing that was submitted as part of their building permit. And here we have the before and after photos. The before photos from 2021 when the district as a whole was resurveyed. And then this most recent photo was part of the submission package for the COA. So if there is additional work that is being proposed, we don't have photos of it at this particular time. And sure.
I didn't apply for a permit.
Sir, could you speak into the microphone as staff is done with their presentation?
To say as a matter of interjection.
Yeah, because I didn't apply for a permit in 2024. I was told I needed one in 2024. That work's been done for almost 3 years. That's that work that's just got done. It's been like that for 3 years.
It's been like that for 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Again,
the city has been by my house several times. No one said anything. And then somebody rode by my house one day and reported it. And that's how we got to this point.
And that was in 2024?
Last
year. Okay.
Yeah, but
so
the
that
work's been
makes sense.
done since 22.
Since 2022. Okay. So this is where we are right now. Staff does recommend the following treatments as a path to compliance with the Secretary of Interior standards and the additional criteria for new construction and alteration. It's removing the column tile and hardy board, uncovering the original column, evaluating the condition of the original columns, repairing areas of the columns that are in poor condition and replacing them in kind, and reinstalling the shutters and wrought iron balusters and railing. If our applicant is amenable to this path, this recommended path of compliance can be reviewed at a staff level, whereas the request for retroactive approval necessitates board approval. So unfortunately, because of the scope of work from our applicant, because it does not meet with our historic preservation ordinance, nor can it be modified in a way through staff's imposed conditions. While we are sympathetic of the situation of our applicant, we unfortunately have to recommend denial of HPB case number 2543 for not complying with our historic preservation ordinance, and we have the standards that they do not comply with for the Secretary of Interior standards. It's numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and for the additional criteria, they do not meet the standards for 3 and 7. And I have elaborated in this presentation key definitions within these standards where our proposal does not comply with, saying that the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved, removal of historic materials and alterations that characterize a property shall be avoided, each property shall be recognized as a physical record of its time and place, and changes shall not create a false sense of historical development, which in this case, unfortunately, the proposal does. Distinctive features shall be preserved. Deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Physical treatments, which staff has defined as either encasing the wrought iron columns or the removal of them. Exterior alteration shall not destroy historic materials, is the fact that they characterize the property, and that the proposal shall protect the integrity of the property and its environment. It is for those reasons that they do not comply with those standards within the Secretary of Interior standards, and for additional criteria for new construction and alterations, the design style should, contemporary design standards should relate to the surrounding buildings. So these are the 4 surrounding buildings of 815 39th Court, and that stone has not been utilized in any of those 4 buildings. And same thing with the relationship of materials and textures, predominant materials of the historic district. Stone is not indicative of World War II development from 1939 from the point of this property's construction. To go back, if the applicant can work with staff on repairing deteriorated materials, that's why we're here. We're here to help all of our applicants and any of our property owners. If they are more or less propitious to this path of compliance that we have stated previously, we are more than happy to be with them every step of the way. But because, again, this work is contrary to what our applicant is proposing, we unfortunately have to recommend denial. But there is a path forward. We do know that this is a co-compliance issue and that there's going to be a problem no matter what. So we want to do our best to help our applicant. So with that, that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you.
The city of West Palm Beach approved all of this. It was held up by historic.
That's still.
My house, excuse me, sorry. In 2015, city of West Palm Beach. My house is no longer, non-contributing, okay. City of West Palm Beach came out, did construction on my house. They removed my fireplace, they removed my chimney, they removed the siding out the back of my house, and they said anytime that anything is removed from an historical house, it is no longer historical, the way you're saying it is, because they could not afford, they agreed to a certain bid price to do my house. You know how you get the loans? But when it came to the end of it, they could not afford to fix the chimney back. I don't know why they knocked it down in the first place, but they could not afford to put the chimney back. There's a lot of things that has changed on my property. When I went to I moved there in 1995. And all those houses that you're showing on that picture, they are not the same as they were when I moved there. The house that you showed that was next door to me, they had all wrought iron, and their house has changed. The lady next door to me with the picture with the other one, hers was changed. So all of those houses are not the same as they were. We are still in compliance because we didn't change anything on our house. We just fixed our front porch where it was not safe for us with rusty iron on it. We're not asking for anything else. I'm trying. I've been going through. I went and got a permit when we realized that we needed a permit to cover the post. I went and got it. It's not that we did it. It was less than $400 to fix it. So we thought we didn't need a permit. But we wanted to get rid of that rusty stuff out the front of the porch. And that was done right after the time when COVID had happened. And it had been there for 3 years or 4. And then last year, they came and said something about it. And when they said something to me about it, I went and got the permit. I paid all the late fees that I had to pay on it. I've done everything. And all I asked for them to come back out and inspect it. They told me they couldn't do it because I couldn't, they kept giving me delays. And then they told me I had to end up coming down here because my house was in a historical district. And that's why I'm here. It's not because my house is no longer, I don't have a fireplace, I don't have siding on the back, I don't have all that. It's not, and I've already checked my house. I have nothing historical that happened in my house. And it's not on a national register. I checked all of that. I've done all. I did my research for the last, ever since they told me, the guy told me to come down here and do this. So that's what I did. I did exactly, and every time on my permit, they would leave notes out, everything they would ask me to do, I would do. And then they asked me to come down here last. They said, Ms. Williams, well, everything looked fine to us, but you're gonna have to go to the COA. And that's why I came down here to get this. Well, you know, I can't do anything about that. It's not that we were disrespecting the city of West Palm Beach. I worked for the city of West Palm Beach for 20 years. I'm a former employee. I'm not here to take advantage of the city. If I knew I needed a permit, I would have been there.
And we understand that it's been a long and frustrating process for you. So for our board, this is the first time that we're aware of this case. And I think if I could just ask a couple questions of staff to clarify for me. So the applicant is saying that they did receive a building permit. Did the city of West Palm Beach give a building permit?
We have the permit.
Yes. So the building permit was received, but a certificate of appropriateness was not.
That's what they told me.
Okay. Is that correct, Mr. Mendez?
Okay, clarify. So they did apply for a building permit. However, there are multiple approvals within that building permit, one of which is the historic district review.
Yes.
And it was in that, comment section where this required resubmittal for the fact that the scope of work that was entailed within this building permit necessitated COA approval, needed to go before the board.
Okay, so it was applied for, but it was not actually granted because of the COA stop. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. All right, and then I also just want to, I think just for everyone's general understanding, so City of West Palm Beach staff is not in charge of whether it's contributing or non-contributing. That's done based off of the surveying that happened. So I don't know the last time a surveying was done for the contributing versus non-contributing structures for this district. I know that we're kind of due for updates, right? So that's really out of staff's hands and out of the board's hands. Really, when it comes to the board and when it comes to staff, that designation is already made. So that's just kind of out of our hands. And we understand that changes have occurred over time that you feel like impact the historic integrity of the structure. We completely understand that. But for our board specifically, we can't just say, it's non-contributing now because we don't actually have that power. That's not within our purview as a board. But we hear what you're saying about the changes over time and that, of course, other surrounding properties have had changes over time as well, and considering that like as an overall district in the context of your project. So I just want you to understand that we totally hear you and then also understand kind of where we are as a board and what what we can and can't do in regards to that. Okay, so we've had our staff presentation, we've had applicant comments and presentation. Are there any comments or questions from the board at this point for either staff or the applicant?
Yes, I have a question for staff. Is the brick face cladding on the front facade also part of our review tonight?
Yes, it is, because that was something that was covered and that has been altered. I believe there is a slide that outlines it, but
Okay, no, thank you. I don't think it says that.
Do you know if the brick is behind it or I would think that the brick is still behind it?
so this is masonry scoring that is on top of the stucco structure. So it is my understanding that this is stucco. I'm not sure what is, behind that stucco.
Are you basing that on is the stucco scoring on the, I guess, right side of the picture?
Yes.
But do you know for sure it looks like brick? It looks a lot like, is that brick? So, no, on the porch, was that brick?
It's all brick.
And was that covered? So behind this stone tile, there's still brick?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
But yeah, they did cover that with the stone finish.
okay. But no brick was removed, it was just put on top, okay.
Yeah, because the other brick was damaged, so we gotta fix it.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay.
I'm sorry, I have a question. So this is,
When they came out to the house, they didn't say anything about the wall. They just said something about the posts and the balusters, okay? Nobody said anything about the wall, because the wall had chips and everything in it, so my son covered it up. I mean, I'm just trying to make my house look nice, you know what I'm saying? So, but they wrote me up on I'll show you. I have a paper.
I think we understand what you're saying, that the condition of the brick was poor and that you did this work because you felt like it made the house look better.
is this house contributing or non-contributing?
It's contributing.
Is there any, with the city attorney, is there any precedent if you said the city came and made changes to your house?
Yes.
If the city makes changes to a contributing structure, could it become
Yeah.
non-contributing or no?
I don't.
That
Mr.
happens at the time of surveying. So the last time Northwood Hills was surveyed was in 2021. So it's
So
from
that's actually fairly recent.
Yeah, it was fairly recent. So, and that's where the
And it was
existing
surveyed
photos come in.
after the city made the changes then?
According to our applicant, yes.
Yeah,
So.
okay.
So I also think that if there is potential for reclassification, and they have some evidence that they could provide for that, maybe can we continue so that they can provide that evidence?
It has never been the purview of our board in the past to be able to change the designation from a contributing to non-contributing. That's my concern.
Yeah, so I don't think it's in the purview of the board, but I think if there is some potential reclassification, and she's introducing you.
So my understanding is that the only way that it can be reclassified is through a new surveying.
So that could be done.
Resurveying is a large process. So
Long process.
staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that the whole district would need to be resurveyed, which means that, and I think the resurveying tends to happen like every 10 years. It means that every house within the district is looked at to see if it's still contributing versus non-contributing. I think a lot of that work in the past has been done by volunteers. It's a really massive process versus like one by one. And I'm happy to be wrong, but that's been our experience in the past.
So yes, that assessment is correct. One of the other things that happens with resurveying is adjustment of the boundaries, and you need to have proper notification of the surrounding properties as well.
Yeah, I guess what I'm wondering is if the board elects to deny this, if the applicant has the option to apply elsewhere for an exception to get their house classified differently. Like, is that something that they could do? Like, who, do we know
I
that?
think they could get a community effort to resurvey the entire neighborhood.
But that's what it would take. There's no.
Yes,
That's my understanding.
and that's a grassroots effort.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
outside of our scope.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, I mean, definitely outside of our scope. I'm just wondering if there's
Yeah, I mean, it can be done. It's a tremendous effort, not by city staff. I can't imagine. Okay, so any other questions by the board, though? All right, is there any public comment for this case? Okay, seeing none, could I ask our visiting attorney, is it appropriate to have a rebuttal since we've had kind of back and forth with the applicant for this case, or should we just move into executive session? Okay, would you like to say anything else? You can have a short rebuttal to anything that staff said.
My only concern is I didn't do it for a decorative thing or anything. I just made it so everything went right away. It'll be waterproof and everything like that. So that's why I made stone. That's the only reason. Because the wood and the railing say right away. With the stone, it's covered. Water is water resistant. You can't. It won't go nowhere. So that's why I did it like that. But if they would have let me know that I couldn't do that, I wouldn't have never messed with it. And nobody ever complained. It's been like that for years. So that's it. It was.
Yeah, and we understand that it's a tough position to be in, and staff is obligated to respond when someone reports it.
Okay, so as far as them taking the chimney out the house, because it was a whole working fireplace on the house. It was removed. So it's kind of like, it was already changed, so there's nothing natural still on the house.
Yeah, and it's natural for historic properties for changes to occur over time. So it's natural, right? Because it's not a museum. So we would expect changes to occur over time. And that doesn't mean that it's, not contributing anymore. You do have some beautiful features that, like those front doors on the front of the house are really beautiful and really unique. Okay, so we've had the rebuttal, we've had both presentations, and we're going to move in.
Let's say one more thing.
Okay, and then we'll move into executive session.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was reading those compliance things that it says that you have a right to change the features on your house, whether it's historical or not. If I left my porch like it was, you saw how rusty the railings were. I passed the pictures down. It wouldn't, my house would look terrible. I would have got written, you would have been writing me up for that. So, what are you supposed to do, We're trying hard, keep our property up and everything. I don't want to get no fines on my house. I work too hard for my house. This doesn't make any sense to me. But I understand. I went and got my permit, and they start holding it up, and it's been held up for a year now. And I kept asking them what was the problem. And now I'm coming down here, and this is another problem, and I got to wait again. So I'm just trying to, I understand what you're saying about this is that, but if you notice in my neighborhood, if you come down in my neighborhood, you'll see that everything is not the same. It's not, we are historical, but they say it's okay for you to live in a historical area and change your house if it's historical. And that's all I'm out here trying to get an approval so my house will be okay. You know what I'm saying? Because in the thing, question and answers that I got from out of your historical thing, it says it's okay to change, get the house is changed. But now you act like you're going to turn me down, and that don't make any sense. I'm just asking for a change, and so I can get my house to be okay. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
Thank you. All right, we're moving into executive session now. All right, so I know that code compliance issues are always tough, for the board when the applicant is asking for approval after the fact. I think, our board is tasked pretty specifically with how we judge projects. And I think we need to look at it in regards to the compatibility criteria and the Secretary of Interior standards, again, as we are tasked to do. So if anyone would like to start off the conversation.
I feel terrible, but I don't think that we have a choice because we're given very clear guidelines of how we have to vote, unfortunately. And I know this is a big financial burden, and I wish that we could vote differently, but I don't see that there's a choice.
I wonder if we look at what staff is recommending and see if all of these things need to be done, or if we can modify some of the things that need to be done, like reinstalling the shutters. I'm sure that material is gone.
No,
The shutters are there?
Yeah, I'm just resurfacing them, that's all.
We took the shutters down to paint them.
Okay, so that,
Thing will be back up there. That's why I keep saying, nothing has disappeared. The only main part of the house that was gone is those balusters.
okay. And I appreciate that. We're in executive session now. Thank you for clarifying. So the shutters are there. That, I apologize, I missed that. Does anyone else want to chime in before we kind of look at these one by one?
My question is, I guess we still don't have a permit for any of this work. And so getting past this board will get them to a permit in some form or function. Okay.
I mean, maybe the question is, are they willing to do the work so we can just approve it with conditions and let staff work with them so that they can get the permit? Because are they being fined right now?
Yeah, have there been fines levied?
What I understand that what staff is recommending is the denial so they can work with them at the staff level. Right? Is that what you are trying to do? Because if we approve it with conditions, they have to do what we are saying, right? If we deny it, changes can be handled at staff level by them.
Oh.
Or appealed.
Right.
Unless, we feel that what staff is recommending, that we can be more lenient, I guess, and that our decision is going to be better for the applicant or not.
So the goal in this case, so it's just a matter of process. The goal in this case would be deny technically what's been done, but then that pushes them into maybe working with staff to do these four more or less of these items so maybe it would be in their, so it's in their benefit in a certain sense that we deny so that they can go back to staff to manage this.
But then there's the staff approval application, right, that then has to be filed for.
Okay.
Versus if we approved with conditions, and that's actually an approval
Correct.
Oh,
that you
okay.
could move forward with,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But that's contingent on them being willing to do the changes.
Yes.
Yes, or like Mr. Murphy said, if we deny it, they can appeal the case because of all these issues.
Right, but I think the red tape and the complexity of working with the city, it's probably easier to approve with conditions so that they don't have to continue to go through this process.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so let's look at the items then. Let's,
Well, just, and technically speaking, like, let's say we want them to do all these things, and they can't. They can still appeal it. Is that not the case?
can they appeal an approval with conditions?
Technically, yes, you can, an applicant can appeal specific conditions and specific words to void them if they have been approved by the board, and that goes straight to city commission.
Okay.
Okay, so then okay. Okay, that clarifies things for me. So then we can talk about conditions for approval.
Yes. Okay, so let's just start at the top. Remove the column tile on the hardy board to uncover the original column. Mr. Mendez, could you pull up the side-by-side comparison? Okay. So the middle lacework column, it does not look like that's in the same position as the column now. So I think if there's an encasement, it's the ones at the end.
That one in the middle, it broke off.
Yes, okay, thank you for that clarification. So that material is not, we can't just take it off and be done with it.
Right, there were originally 3 columns.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are 5. And 3 in the wrong locations.
See one thing, the reason they came off, because it looked like it's steady, but the footing was not even connected to the porch anymore. It was like floating. So it was making the roof move every time a hurricane or something came. That's why I had to redo this.
So I just think that we need to take into consideration, like, what historic material can actually come back and what can't. Could you put the conditions back up? I'm sorry, giving you a workout tonight.
It's all right. For the record, they're not necessarily conditions. Staff does not recommend,
Got it.
denial with conditions, but this is just our recommended treatment plan to get into compliance.
Understood, thank you.
So the second, evaluate the conditions of the original columns. They may not be original columns. They may be 2 out of the 3. The third is not there anymore. Repair areas of the column that are in poor condition or replace them in kind.
I think it can be cost prohibitive
Correct.
to try to repair lacework,
Yeah.
like metal lacework. I think that that's part of where this gets tricky.
I mean, honestly, I think the answer is whatever structural material is being used, to just be clad in wood,
Yeah,
and that'll look fine.
And what if we suggest replicating the original design as far as going back to the 3 columns instead of the 5, but just change the material on them so it has the same essence?
I mean, I agree that in an ideal world, that is best. I feel like if we're trying to work with them with where they are, do we take away the cladding and then just clad it in wood so that it's more in keeping Would the Secretary of Interior Standards, like, is that more helpful for finding a middle ground so that there's not so much work that they have to do?
Yeah, I would.
I mean, it's a question.
My concern is just more of a structural rather than aesthetic in this case. It's like, I mean, of course, this goes back to permitted work, non-permitted work, what got inspected, what didn't, if anything got inspected. But I mean, I'm sure if we could reduce the number of columns, we would. But would having like 3 columns pass inspection? Are they properly attached or anything? I just think I would see if we could work with what's there, and then just clad them with something a little bit more appropriate and cost effective.
So we could keep the 5 columns that they currently have, but clad them in wood instead of, I'm not sure what to call the like stone material. I think it was
Instead of basically tiling on them.
Yeah. So clad the current columns in wood.
Yeah.
And then, so that deals with the column aspect. I think the railing that's there, I had a picture. Are we okay with the railing that's currently installed, leaving that?
I don't remember what it looks like.
Yeah, does somebody have the picture that was passed around? Or did it come up?
Do we want the columns to
I think I
have
was
some
okay
sort
with
of
it.
detail on base?
Oh,
On the
no, there was a
capital,
picture with the railing installed that
below
she
the
passed.
simple-
Yeah, I think a traditional.
Yeah.
Gabe is just saying a traditional post detail.
Oh, with a cap and base or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. Okay, so, yeah. Which you can kind of see it, but at least the pitched handrail at the stairs, that's still there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's good. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
so we could keep the railing as it's been installed. The columns can receive traditional post detailing in wood in their current location. And then I think what's left is that back wall and the like tile on in front of the brick.
Which might actually be the trickiest thing.
Tricky because of the adhesion.
Yeah, it's like part of me wants to just like pull it off, but that probably would damage the brick even more. Part of me wants to like stucco over it, but I don't know how good that would be for anything.
Or paint it
Or paint it.
so that it,
I think paint it and then reapply the shutters, and the shutters will take up a huge portion of it.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Very little
So if we
you'll
paint
actually see.
here, let me see if I can.
Or maybe they can skim coat it first.
Oh, that's a good
Make
idea.
it smooth.
Well, it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of what I was saying, like stucco over it, but I don't know if that would,
That's a good idea.
I
Maybe
feel
that's
like you might
fine.
have like cracking issues or
yeah,
like
that's
the
kind of what I mean.
joint may be weird at
That's
the
what I mean.
jam.
I feel like
So-
painting might, yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
think,
so-
can I ask the applicant?
I mean, sure.
Do you think that would be easy to remove the stone at this point and restore the brick behind, repaint it, and that's it? Or the adhesive that you use will probably damage the brick when you remove it?
Honestly, I think brick.
I think it's gonna get damaged.
Brick is a persnickety material.
Yeah.
I would be dubious. I mean, it would be like, if this was my job, I'd be like, I want to bring like a masonry restoration expert in it. Like once you break into that exterior fired exterior of the brick.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with painting brick, because you can't remove the paint without removing that exterior like fire layer, which increases the porosity of brick, which may cause problems. So it's like, once it's painted, it's always got to stay painted. So like once it's covered, I almost think it's like probably got to stay covered.
Yeah, agreed.
Well,
Without
and if there's like a future owner,
Yeah.
decades from now that wants to get a restoration expert in there, then we haven't like further damaged the brick.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we're thinking about preserving the historic materials, we're not doing further damage.
Right.
I think that the impact will be very similar if we paint it, have the shutters go up, And this is a middle ground that helps get these permits closed out, gives them a path forward.
Yep.
It's in keeping with the Secretary of Interior standards with the historic material that we still have.
Yep.
So I think that this is a good way to move forward.
I think it's fantastic.
Okay, so let's just recap. Columns can stay where they are, but they'll be clad in wood with a traditional post detail. The back, sorry, again, I'm not really sure what to call the stone material, but the stone material shall be painted the body color of the rest of the house. And the railing can remain as currently installed.
And the shutters need to
And
go back.
The
reinstall
shutters must be reinstalled, as we believe they are.
Everything ironclad, that's the side railings.
Yeah, yeah, the railings that as installed, we think we can keep it, you can keep
You
in
can
place.
leave them as they are.
I have railings up there now, they already,
Those can stay.
so just do column.
Yeah, redo the column, like
Just the
reclad the
outside.
column.
Just a
And-
different outside appearance.
I think we're at a happy place where we're helping them move forward and we're keeping with our standards as we're required to do. So I think that this is a good path forward. If the applicant has any further questions, staff can help answer those. I know that you said you're very willing to do what you can to help move this applicant forward. So I think with that, if we could have a motion.
Okay, I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 25-43, 815 39th Court, for additions and alterations in accordance with standards 9 and 10 as set forth in section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the Historic Preservation element of the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. The conditions include the following. First, the columns can be kept and clad in wood with a traditional post detail. That means base and simple base and cap. The shutters must be reinstalled. The stone must be painted the same color as the rest of the house, and the iron railing can remain.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. The motion passes. Congratulations, and thank you for working with the city. Our next case is case number 25-44 for 531 36th Street.
Hello, good evening. This is Walter, Designer Architects, here on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Peter Hill, who is the owner of this historically contributing structure in the Northborough Park District. The application tonight is only related to the rear accessory structure. We desire to add a 217 single-story square foot addition to the west for a gym. And we need to extend this garage forward. Proposals for 105 square feet. It's just under a 5-foot expansion to the front of this garage. It's currently 18 feet deep on the exterior, which is less than, it's 17 and change on the interior. City of West Palm Beach minimum parking stall is 8'6" by 18. So technically, the existing garage does not even qualify for holding a car. It is obviously old and was for older style vehicles that were smaller. Here's the existing site, pointing out the existing structure, which is to remain. We are obviously building in front of and to the side of it. These proposed additions can be easily removed to restore the original structure, which is pictured here. Unfortunately, there's not a lot really original to the structure, to be honest. This garage door is obviously not original. The interior was reframed to support this tilt-up door. This is, you can see the stucco differences on this former addition to the side. This was not original. This is the rear of the facade, which faces an alleyway that's behind the motel. So at some point, somebody bricked in the openings, which I assume was for security reasons. The side that faces the neighbors is an interesting lot. I'm going to go back to this first photo real quick. As you can see, these two structures share a driveway, and they also share like this rubbish area where they keep all their containers between the two structures. So there's no fenestration on the east side either. Okay, this application does require a special exception. Every structure on this lot is single story. We do need a little increase to obtain all the square footage that we're asking for, so we are asking for the single story bonus to achieve our program here. Here are the floor plans. You can see the original garage, the storage to the side. Our modest addition to the front does maintain a little bit of setback off of each side, so that there is it is easily distinguishable from the original structure. It is going to be a foot shorter at the parapet, and again held in on the side. Did try to dress this up a little bit. If you noticed, I'm going to go back to this original photo again. The existing main structure does have some Spanish barrel tile. The adjacent structure has some barrel tile on the parapet. We thought it would be appropriate, since they share a driveway and these structures are next to each other, to add some of that barrel tile parapet just to our addition, just to add a little flavor in here, give this rather plain structure a little bit of character. So here we have the existing proposed elevations, both north and south, east and west, roof plan and section, simple monobore slab to the side. I'm going to continue with the wood frame structure, so we're going to match the construction type. Proposed street elevation, maintaining that single story appearance from the street. I'm sure you guys are aware there are a lot of contributing accessory structures in the area. Highlighted a whole bunch here, but most importantly, to the next slide, just wanted to point out that in this specific block, there are actually quite a few large accessory structures, all single story, off this back alleyway. A lot of them are rectilinear in nature. They're all approaching, I would assume that, this one looks close to max or over. Our structure is 769 square feet, so it is in harmony with a lot of these other structures off the alleyway. We're going to be using PGT WindGuard windows and doors. We're going to do a wood-clad carriage-style door on the front to hopefully bring back what was once there, which we don't really have evidence of, but we assume it was something in the carriage-style family. Staff is recommending approval with conditions, all of which we accept, that include having French doors in lieu of the sliders, white window frames. Always hate to see those flat muntins. Absolutely would not happen here. Definitely will have a profile on our muntin pattern. And he just mentions matching the earth tone of the Spanish tile, which we only proposed in order to try to bring some harmony between all those existing structures. Happy to take any comments.
Thank you. We'll do the staff report and then we'll do questions. Thank you.
Anthony Mendez, Historic Preservation Planner for the record, speaking as the case manager for HPB 2544. Our applicant did an exceptional job outlining their proposal. The additions and alterations for this property are just solely for the accessory structure, which was constructed at the same time as the primary structure in 1925 as a mission revival property and was locally designated in 1992 as part of Single Family 14 Context 2. Proposal as outlined in the staff report is a 217-foot square addition to the west. Partial demolition of the primary elevation, which is at the south, with a 105 square foot addition situated there with 2 new garage doors. And here you see that outlined in the site plan, which is more zoomed in. Here we have the south elevation and their applicant's proposal. We have it at the west elevation, and it is important to note that the 2 additions that they're proposing are going to be 1 foot lower than the existing accessory structure. Here we see these drawings in the north and east elevation, along with floor plans, roof plans, a streetscape, and the partial demo plan. So what's highlighted is what they're going to be demolishing and improving. Here are the zoning and land development regulations. As our applicant has stated, they have applied for the lot coverage bonus of 5% for the fact that both the principal and the accessory structure are 1 story, so they get a 5% bonus, and with that, they do comply with that standard. And we've also referenced section 94.304, which is specific to accessory structures. This is in Article 10. The existing accessory structure has 3 nonconformities within its setback, and so the intentions of expanding the space laterally north to south, the only way to get into compliance with zoning and land development regulations was to, again, partially demolish that the primary elevation and construct the 105 square foot addition right here. However, our applicant is obligated to comply with our code for setbacks for 5 feet for the additions. We've also outlined the surrounding buildings analysis, and because the scope of work is limited to the accessory structure, for surrounding buildings, what has been included is the primary structure along with the 7 other properties that surround this address. Staff is recommending approval with conditions. We have outlined the 5 conditions, and they primarily connect to some of the incomplete information that we received for product specification in terms of the Munson configurations, fenestration glazing, and the barrel tile cap. So we've outlined that the doors of the proposed addition at the south elevation shall be French casement doors, as in the application they propose them as sliding doors, and the Munson configuration shall have some external dimension, and that the barrel tile cap at the garage parapet shall have a similar earth tone color as the adjacent primary structure. So with those 5 conditions that we've imposed and the applicable codes as Secretary of Interior stands for rehabilitation and the additional criteria for new construction and alterations, that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Questions of staff or the applicant?
Yes, thank you. I have a question for the applicant. You mentioned that the previous garage was kind of tight for modern-day vehicles, and I completely buy that. But your new garage opening is at 8 feet. In fact, you have 2 of them that are 8 feet. That doesn't seem like you're really giving yourself room to get that new SUV or to make it more functioning garage. Do you think the 8 feet width is adequate in going through all of this effort?
At the end of the day, we're just trying to keep in the character of the neighborhood. Not many people have complained about the 8-foot door. I know, I'm sure it would be great if it was larger, but the owner was okay with that dimension, and it looks good, so we didn't feel the need to push for anything larger than what we needed.
What's the proposed structure of the additions? Concrete?
No. It's going to be wood frame.
Wood frame. And the original structure of the garage is clay tile or wood?
No, it's 2x3s with some diagonal sheathing and stucco.
Cool.
This is our second go-around. This was not our original application, but staff had turned down our initial application, so we're here.
It didn't, did it come before the board first?
No,
Okay, so this is the first time in front of the board.
that is correct.
Okay, thank you. I do not believe we have any public comment, but if I'm missing anyone, let me know. All right, seeing no public comment, we'll move into executive session.
So just to answer Mr. Murphy's comment about the garage doors, you can probably get away with 7-foot garage doors with most modern SUVs. The main thing is if you have any roof racks. Like cars aren't as tall as people think, so 8 feet is plenty. Oh, width? Oh, yeah, oh, that's,
No, I was talking about the width.
oh, yeah, that is tight. That is tight. I have an 8-foot garage door. It's very hard to get my car in. But I guess if it's honestly, I'd rather, to me, I wouldn't want to make my garage door wider, just so it fits, because I'd rather my house look like a house, not a garage door. So I guess, yeah, practically speaking, it's tough, but if they're okay with the width, they're okay with the width. I asked about the wood framing only because this is more of a practical matter, just the longevity of parapet walls. It's probably smart to just have additional parapet coping. So I think it's smart on the garage addition towards the front. I think it would be no big deal to add it onto the gym addition. It'd be nice if you could add it to the whole thing, but I'm sure that there might be objections to that. But I think it's always a good measure to do that in these wood frame stucco houses, is add additional coping material.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'm prepared to make a motion to approve it with conditions, unless my colleagues would like to add any friendly amendments. I'm fine with just the staff conditions. Okay. I move that Historic Preservation Board approve application number 2544 for the proposed additions alterations in accordance with standards 1 through 9 as set forth in section 9449 of the city's land development regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the historic preservation element of the comprehensive plan of the city of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 1 through 9, the additional compatibility criteria set forth in section 9449, specifically criteria 3. The conditions include the following 5 conditions immortalized in the staff memo and the staff presentation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, I believe that was our last case for the evening, correct? All right, may we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next month.